Well, hello everyone. It is I, your pal, J.Ishiro Finney, author and alien in a human suit. And if you don't own any of my work yet, what the hell's wrong with you? Links are in the description. We were all complaining. Everybody's complaining that there's nothing good out there. There's nothing good to read. There are no good comics, no good novels. Well, motherfucker, go down in the links and you'll find them. And they're done by me, and they're good. So, how are we all doing? Let's see. I'm glad you guys appreciated Frontline Assembly's Mind Phaser video there, and yes, that is absolutely correct. They pretty much lifted all that footage, most of it, from the film Gunhead, which led to them winning the Much Music Award in Canada. But then it also led to them then flipping and getting sued by Toho, and it's remained in kind of a weird copyright void ever since. But you can find it on YouTube anyway. So anyway, I thought I would just pop on for a little bit, say hello. I've gotten my required reading done for the day, which good, or not reading, writing, sorry. Required writing. I punched out a little over 2,000 words. Things are moving very, very good. I'm picking up the pace. So even when I have a shitty day, things are good. So how are you? And do you want to give me a topic to bitch about? Because I'm game. Let's see. Looking over this, Pulp Fiction writing. Write a Pulp Fic. Me? Well, I am doing that, actually. That's exactly what I'm doing. I took a little break from Boobs of Steel because it was driving me insane. And after spending 2 years straight working on a project, I felt like I needed to get something on the shelf. And so I'm rushing towards finishing a pulp story to sell to you all so I can then return to Boobs of Steel. And I plan to do it in installments, as I've mentioned. Actually, I've never tried this before, but I've found actually working on two projects simultaneously story-wise, which is supposedly a big no-no. You're never supposed to do that. I'm finding it working out pretty well for me, to be honest with you. Really, what it is when I shift moods, I can just jump back and forth between them, and that's made life very, very easy. Anyway, let's see what else your questions are. What is my knowledge of lycanthropy? Well, my knowledge of lycanthropy is that throughout history, we've had legends of shapeshifters of different kind, not always wolf, that the European myths do seem to have some sort of connection to either plague or some sort of disease, possibly rabies, that caused madness. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, then the legends themselves, depending on what part of the world you were in, kind of decided the rest of it. If what killed it, what rules you had to follow, what to avoid, how it spread, all those things were kind of localized for the most part. There's no consistency. I know that Asia has its own share of lycanthropes, but they're considerably different. Does it go any further than that? I don't know. You'd probably have to just get me talking. I'm sure I know a bit more than that. Tim Pool, Elizabeth Blue. Oh, God. Well, it just shows how much of a cuck he was, doesn't it? I mean, the fact was he was wrong. He had been proven wrong, and he threw a shit fit when he was wrong. Doesn't really go any deeper than that, really. Yeah, I would say that's about as far as it goes. It was a kind of amusing because he threw kind of a shit fit over it. And the fact of the matter was he was being cucked by this chick. She had fooled him, and he didn't have the balls to step up and say something, which really kind of looks bad on his part, especially considering the shit she was pulling and continues to pull. And I'm glad he took a beating for it. I mean, he tried to play it off like, oh, well, isn't it kind of weird that all these conservatives are arguing at this point in time when it's convenient? It's like, oh, now you believe in conspiracies, Tim. When it's convenient to you, when it suddenly appears that people are dogpiling you for doing something stupid, suddenly now we're talking about, oh, it's clearly a conspiracy of some sort, don't you think? But yeah. Tim Pool, the chicken man. What can I say? He does some good work. He does a lot of bad work. Yeah, I can't really think much further than that. I wish I had more of an opinion on that, but really, Tim Pool cucked. Done. I read the Old Gods trick you to get tricks, Old Gods and New Tricks you gave me, and I bought and read the first novel, Let Sleeping Gods Lie. Really, what did you think? How were they? And now, of course, that means the moment you visit, we'll set up the mic and you're going to review them for us. I very much look forward to that, in fact. That'll be awesome. It seems there's a very few zoanthropes in the Orient and other parts of the world, but there are animals that become human, yeah, shape change. But yeah, straight wolfmen, yeah, that does seem very a European thing or Eastern European thing. Really, I think as far as Frontline Assembly is concerned, after Hardwired, they just started making the same album for the most part over and over again. Occasionally they'd mix it up if Reese would come back or if they'd get somebody else working with them, or like the Airmech soundtrack was very, very good change of pace for them. But on the whole, after Hardwired, it was almost like Bill just kept making the same album over and over again. And I don't know, it's just kind of disappointing. I mean, at one point they were one of the most innovative bands in the industry, and now I don't know, he's an old Austrian making the same album repeatedly, and he really should move past the caustic grip meets heavy metal sound and do something different. Seriously. That's my take on it. And for those who are thoroughly confused, we're talking about Frontline Assembly, the industrial band that I just played the video for, and I'll take down the banner now. Let's see. Somebody said Susan Witchy is leaving YouTube, I believe. That's good news. Now, if she gets hit by a car, it would be even better. It's like Kanye said, Tim's an NPC. Yeah, I kind of say he is. I mean, it's interesting is it doesn't matter how much the truth is shoved in his face. He keeps falling back into those leftist thinking patterns he grew up with, and he can't seem to break out of it. I didn't know you were doing a nothing stream, Ishiro. How you been doing? Oh, I've been so, honestly. Shitty sleep, but I've been writing quite a bit, so it's kind of you take the good and the bad. I mean, the lack of sleep and the bad sleep has been very bad for my sanity, but my output's been great, so I'm kind of being an asshole to complain about it, you know? As someone said, Tim is based as he's allowed to be without getting banned. NPC. Where's my money? She heard it's a Gundam coming. Where's my money, Susan? Exactly. I think a lot of people are thinking that. Was watching reruns of Unsolved Mysteries. The old show still creeps me out. It's that music, man. Him with Robert Stack's voice and that fucking music. It's just incredible, isn't it? And those shows were actually pretty well produced, and the research on them, going back after really digging into ufology, I was shocked at just how good the research on the show was. When I was younger, I just figured, this is all bullshit. But no, of a lot of those shows, the research was very well done. compared to sightings, which the research was very highly questionable. Just to put it bluntly, highly questionable. Let's see. It's been as years since I've watched Unsolved Mysteries, but they're still good. Oh, see, melatonin only works briefly for me, and then it'll start to kind of stop working, unfortunately. I was told I could take up to 10 milligrams, and I maxed out on it, and now it's not really doing much. And the problem is when I'm normal, when everything's fine, melatonin works damn great. But when I'm all messed up, it's not great. It's not great at all, to be upfront with you. So yeah, take that as you will. Yeah, I kind of wish it worked better, but whatever. Speaking of UFOs, I got a family story for you. If you send me a link. Oh, sure. Give me a second. Let me plug in the headphones. Now, remember, this is only for Aloise. So there's the link. I'll only answer for Aloise. Anybody else jumps in, I'll just kind of, you'll remain in the green room. Speaking of UFO, the Senate released the papers from 2020 and out of 400 reported sightings, 171 remain unexplained. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the least. The thing is you go back and you look at Blue Book, and then you read what Hynek had to say about his job with Blue Book, and so much of that was just his job was simply come up with a weird idea for us to explain it away. That was it.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
So
I'm doing a lot better. Well, I'm not actually from Ohio. I wasn't in Ohio when that happened. It's just
okay.
I think I might know some people there, so that's why I was just trying to recall who it was, but I can't seem to remember.
See, yeah, you had us really worried there. I thought you were in Ohio, and it's like, oh shit.
No, I'm actually worried about you guys. I sent Kat like a video from Sticks and Hammer about something that happened in Arizona, similar.
Oh, the truck with the acid residue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually isn't nearly as bad. Fortunately, it's localized, and it was just a semi truck. It wasn't a whole damn train, and that's roughly a little over 100 miles away from here. So we should probably be fine. There's also no fire burning it into the atmosphere.
That's good. Like, how's the water situation in Arizona?
The water situation would be perfectly fine if not for California hogging all the water and taking water illegally. Honestly.
Is it really California, or like the people that they don't kick out? Because I remember seeing like videos and coverage of how there were the narco trap, the narcos would go in and they run illegal operations where they grow weed and other sorts of drugs.
That's like part of it, but it's also largely Nestle's. Yeah, they're bastards. They really are. They're one of those companies that just, again, is just fucking evil. But you don't have to worry about us. We've been very careful and stored up backups we've got water for a while, if it comes to that. So
that's good.
So you said you have a story.
Oh yeah, I went to visit some of my extended family. They moved to South Jersey, and it was interesting because I hadn't heard from my great aunt in a while, and apparently my godmother was telling me that my great aunt panicked because she saw something descending from the sky, and there was like a vacuum noise, and it was spinning, and it was like a bright light, and she was panicking, and she told my godmother that she ran inside because she had heard stories about people getting sucked into the into those types of things and not coming back or disappearing. So she ran inside and hid. And apparently there were three other people that could corroborate her story about something just descending. And well, my godfather seems convinced that it was likely a drone or something, just like some craft or whatever. But he wasn't there. But the other people that corroborated her story do agree with her that it was something that it was bright and it was spinning, like based on the noise that they heard.
Okay, so this was in Jersey?
It didn't happen in Jersey. It's more like my some family back in my mom's country, but
Okay.
in Nicaragua. But like yeah, I found out about it today when I was visiting some family in South Jersey. So they were telling me.
Well,
yeah.
When this happened?
I have no idea.
Because Central and South America have had bizarre UFO activity for a very, very long time, and not the typical kind that we usually hear about. Back when Elton used to listen to the show, he'd talk about it. I wonder what happened to him. But anyway, in that region, there were legit UFO sightings where they would see these bright lights and hear these weird noises, and people would get exposed to the light and come back with radiation burns. So, I mean, that, depending on when it happened.
Oh, I think it's a good thing my great aunt decided to run indoors.
Yeah.
She ran indoors and she barricaded herself, and she would not come out for hours. Even when people showed up to like ask for her, she just stayed in there for a long time until eventually she felt safe to, go outside. She was terrified.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did she say how big it was?
I'm not really sure, but I'm guessing it was large enough to like fit like inside, like take up a good portion of the yard. So probably like the size of like a Toyota truck or something. Because that's what I remember the yard being like, that, or like enough to like fit a Toyota in there. So
That's interesting. Well, it's always a hard call because on the one end, there are lots of stories dating way back in that region of the world of bizarre things that really kind of defy explanation. And then there are others that are just as disturbing that have a more mundane explanation. And that is, since the late 1940s, it's highly rumored that the CIA was using helicopters and using them for psychological warfare, and also for testing radiological weapons on people.
Well, right now, like, right now in Nicaragua, like, from what I heard, they like the Chinese have a military base there, so it could be the Chinese, and that's what my godfather was saying. He like that it's probably that. He's convinced it's a drone.
Well, I mean, if you wanted the most likely and easy explanation, yeah, I mean, it probably was a drone, but regardless, it was an abnormal thing in the sky that was not something that you would usually see, that made noises that weren't typical. And so, yeah, it's still interesting.
Yep.
So in a sense, it still qualifies as, unidentified, if you want to go that route.
Yep.
And again, the thing that's really the most interesting thing about UFOs in general is you start to look through history, and just this phenomenon has been going on for a very, very long time. And despite that, it wasn't until the modern era that we started attaching the notion of an alien craft to it. That's a recent addition, and I've said this many times before that Carl Jung had went so far as to say the most interesting part of the UFO phenomena, not aliens, but the UFO phenomena, was that this was fun. This was something that had been around for ages, but this was how our modern brains were interpreting it. That we no longer saw them as angels or demons or take your pick, what monster, vampires. We were seeing aliens instead, is what we identified them as. And so in that regard, the phenomena, real or not, it probably is real, or it is real. Not even probably, it is real. Regardless of what the phenomena is, our judgment we've brought to it is our own, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So otherwise, how are you?
I'm doing a lot better than I was 2 days ago.
What was the big difference?
I think it's because my mom left to go abroad to like visit her country, so like I've been cooped up here and having to like listen to like my dad rant a lot about it. It kind of because my mom and my dad don't have the best situation, like.
Mm-hmm.
So having to listen to one of my parents rant about the other, being stuck like between them in their like arguments and stuff like that. So like
that sucks.
Yep.
I can relate to that one. I can absolutely relate to that one. And you're caught in the middle?
Yeah.
When did they come from Nicaragua?
Well, my mom's from Nicaragua. My dad's from Costa Rica.
Oh, okay.
They met up here, like, and I mean, at one point they loved each other, and that's why I exist. But like, I don't know if that love that they had for each other even exists anymore.
Jesus, that's terrible.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't really know your situation, but I can definitely sympathize. You all are well aware of my own upbringing issues. So
yeah, I mean, I think my troubles pales in comparison to what you've dealt with, because yours it's some serious stuff, like more serious than, at least both of my parents love me, even if like my mom is brutal with the criticism. Because she grew up in a war-torn country. She had to like essentially raise herself, and so like she's kind of the tough love type of person, but like she's also really brutal in the fact that she does not hold back when she criticizes things. Like
yeah,
but it's I think I have to toughen up. I think she's right about that.
Well, that's just necessity, unfortunately. I mean, that's just, you have to toughen up if you're going to make it.
Yeah. I think that's what she's more concerned about, the fact that I'm too soft, and she doesn't have confidence that if she leaves, because she doesn't want to die here, because she's not in the best of health and stuff like that. Like, I didn't even know that she was feeling that way. It's only I found out because my godparents told me.
Oh, Jesus. So
yeah.
she wants to go back
She wants to go die in a where the sun shines, like where it isn't winter and stuff like that. Like,
okay, well, I can relate to that one. For a very brief time, Kat and I checked out Virginia as a possible place to live because she has family there. One winter, it was like, oh, hell no. No, I'm not doing this. Can't do it.
Yeah, and I told my mom we could move to Texas or somewhere sunny.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has the confidence that she'll be happy there. And, she bought land back in her old, like, her home country, so she just wants to go die there. Which is, I don't know, it's kind of morbid. But
Yeah, it's morbid, but I don't know. On the one end, it's morbid. I guess it's also something that at some point everyone's going to have to face with their parents. Is when they
yeah,
hit that time when mom and dad are going to be thinking about those things. It's kind of strange that it was that phase of my life that things just went complete shit with them, and I finally realized, this really isn't worth it. Yeah, I had always expected that on some degree I would play a support role to them, but no, not now. So she wants to go back to Nicaragua, huh?
yeah.
What's the political situation right now?
Over in Nicaragua, I
Yeah.
have no idea. Like, I remember that one of my cousins had to go on to run during the time when he was studying in the capital because the government there decided that the students are the enemy and started like shooting them for protesting. And mind you, it's not like plastic bullets or whatever, like silicon bullets. I don't know what bullets they use on protesters, not protester rioters
Yeah.
here, but over there it was like it was a legitimate protest, and actual rounds were fired, and a lot of people died.
Yeah, they were probably just opening fire. It wasn't rubber bullets and fire hoses.
Nope, it wasn't. And people died, and my cousin wasn't even involved with the protest, but because he was a college student in the capital attending that university, they were targeting him, opportunists wanting to turn people in and things like that, so he just ran to Panama. And some of the people that were arrested, they still nobody knows what became of them. Like, they just disappeared, and a lot of the parents of those students, like, they like fled to Costa Rica. And I remember, like, the year after that happened, like, I think it was 2019, then around 2020, near the end of
Maybe
2019.
you can convince your mom. Try and convince her to go to Texas or maybe like Miami or something where it's warm.
Yeah,
It's like you don't want to go back there right now, Mom. Really, seriously.
I keep trying to tell her that, like, especially now with the whole China having a base there, and then it's gonna turn into, like, if things break out into war and stuff like that, it's gonna turn into a battlefield.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been caught in between the East and West in proxy wars for quite a long time. So yeah,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like another Cuban Missile Crisis.
it could be. It definitely could be. Or something akin to that. But yeah.
And that, or Venezuela, because I know Russia probably has some bases in Venezuela, because the Venezuelans have been doing deals with Russia for a while now, since the embargo.
Jeez. Yeah, you don't want to go to South America. Would you be going with her, or would you stay here?
I want to stay here because I've made it a point to point out that I was born here. This is all I've ever known. To me, it feels like I'm abandoning, like, leaving everything behind. Like,
Well, that wouldn't be incorrect.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have a point there. Wow. So you're kind of in a rough situation right now.
Yep. But I think I just have to be more optimistic.
Well, to a degree, it's not just the optimism, but the doing everything you can to seize control of your own destiny.
Yeah, and I really think that I've been taking a backseat to that, just letting everything, just going with emotions and not really living. But
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
24.
24. When I was 24, I was really fucked up. as well. I had a lot of things on my mind. I mean, I was going through different things, but I mean, on the one end, you'll look back at these years and you'll think of all the things you enjoyed about it, but at the same time, you'll think about, my God, I was a complete mess.
Yeah, that's kind of how I look at my teenage years.
So, and right now, I mean, the country and everything is in such a bizarre place as well, that I'm sure that fathoming what your future is going to be is really difficult.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got that pretty right, huh?
Yep. I think a lot of people my age are thinking that. At least the people that are actually paying attention to like what's going on.
Well, okay, honestly, if you don't mind me asking, I mean, you guys have asked before if you want to hear these things, and I'll open. What concerns you? If you
That's
don't have to answer that.
I'm trying to think because there's a lot of things. I guess like future like job prospects because like the economy isn't so good right now and I just don't want to live on the streets or anything like that, like because I know my mom wants to leave and I don't know how I'm gonna survive. I've already gotten it, I remember once I tried to move out, like I think a month ago when I was angry and I realized that getting an apartment is a lot. It's very expensive here in Jersey.
Yeah, you'd probably want to get out of Jersey as soon as you could.
Yeah.
Get into one, go to a red state for one, and probably live somewhere further outside the city where you can afford property or at least rent. Maybe get a roommate or two. That would be my recommendation.
Yep.
When I was in college, and then I took a year off, I spent 2 years in Berkeley living alone. And, rent in Berkeley was pretty expensive even back then. And I would have to say that it was tough keeping a studio apartment all by myself, being able to make rent. It was like every cent count. It was like there were like nights where I was down to the very last $5 in my bank account just to get by. And I think in retrospect, it would have made a hell of a lot more sense if I had gotten a roommate, but my headspace was not the best at the time. The economy is way better in places that aren't fucking New Jersey. Do you see that?
Yep, that's true.
But also, I would say, I don't know much about Jersey. I really don't. I've only had one experience in Jersey, and Kat and I had a layover there, and we were flying into New York. And the layover in Jersey, we figure, oh, they've got this reputation of being really rude. I'm sure that that's really played up. No, it was the meanest fucking airport I've ever been to. I mean, people went out of their way to be
Wait,
assholes.
was it the Newark airport?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
bizarre. People were going out of their way to be complete dipshits. It's like 3 a.m. and we go to
people are kinder in what I've found is people are kinder in South Jersey than they are in North Jersey because North Jersey tends to lean more into like New York. They're more influenced by New York, while South Jersey tends to be more influenced by like the like countryside and Pennsylvania. Like
well,
we don't.
that.
Yeah, Jersey doesn't really have its own distinct like culture in the sense that we're influenced by the other, like the two areas, the two metropolitan areas, like Pennsylvania and New York.
So that whole reputation of Jersey being a bunch of assholes, that really is just, just an offshoot of New York.
Yeah.
Because I would say that New York was kind of bizarre in that way too. Is just how everyone was ready for an argument. That was one of the weirdest damn things I ever experienced. Is that if you were like being nice or you wanted to get along with someone and just not make trouble, they would get suspicious.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the only time where we were waiting to catch a cab to get back to the airport. And one cab pulls up, and then another cab pulls up, and I've got an Indian guy and an African guy speaking in their native tongues, screaming at each other over who was going to drive us, and they nearly got into a fight.
So what did you guys end up doing? Did you call an Uber, or did Uber even exist back then?
No, it didn't. We used the shuttle service from the hotel. It was like, oh, no, we're not doing this. And those two were so caught up in screaming at each other, they didn't even notice we'd left. And like, we're watching this happen, and the whole time in front of the hotel, there's this weird looking guy who's hunched over, and he's in a coat, and he's got this baseball cap, and he's just giving everyone dirty looks, and his hat says, "Fuck you." Like, this can't be real. This can't really be happening. But okay, so it's good to know that not all Jersey's like that. But yeah, I would say if you can, try and find a way to get to another state. I mean, it won't be easy, but it's worth doing, especially at your age. Have you ever lived outside of Jersey?
No.
That's worth doing on its own, seriously, just to get the experience.
I've been thinking about moving to New Hampshire because there's the Free State Project and a lot of liberty. Yeah, because it's close to me, so I could easily do it. But
yeah, and you wouldn't be as far away from family.
Yep. But
yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, at the same time, I'm wondering if I could just convince my mom to just go to Texas. Then I'd probably move to Texas as well. But I don't really know the situation in Texas because I remember hearing that the border problem, and then the Haitians and everything else. I don't know what the situation is like there.
That's based on what city you're in, first off, and you can avoid that very easily by what city you move to. Texas is very, very large.
I'm afraid of tornadoes, though. That's the
well, see, that's the thing. It doesn't really matter where you go. Okay, if you move out west, it's going to be earthquakes. If you move south, it's going to be hurricanes and tornadoes. Where you are, it's hurricanes, I believe, right?
Yep.
So you're going to have something like that no matter where you go. Now,
hurricanes and floods.
Yeah. See, I've never been in a flood, not one of any merit, at least. And hurricanes, I've never experienced a hurricane, but I'll tell you, living in California was like, you got to the point where you just didn't care if there was an earthquake. You're like, okay, just wait, let's see how long this one lasts. If it starts to get bad, we'll get under the table, but okay, it passed. And it's weird, as living in California, you always knew if someone wasn't from California if the earthquake happened and they screamed and jumped under the table.
Oh yeah, I had an elementary teacher that told me about her time in California, how when she worked in a school there I don't remember if it was a class trip, where she said when the earthquake started, and she just grabbed her class and left because they were just freaking out over the earthquake, and people around them were not surprised about the earthquake.
Nah. And the thing is most of the buildings there, or at least they used to be, very well built to withstand earthquakes, and you kind of got a sense of what to do. And it was weird. Was San Francisco was the only city where that wasn't the case, where if an earthquake happened, everyone flipped out, and then it was just they wouldn't stop flipping out. But so if you want to get,
do you think that's because of a lot of people from Mexico?
It could be that. It could also be just a lot of drama queens in San Francisco. Be honest with you. But if you were to go to New Hampshire or Texas, I mean, what are your skills so far?
That's the thing. I don't really think I have any skills.
Really?
I've been, I did go to school for like a trade school for network technician support, like for computer network technician support,
Okay.
but like I wasn't able to finish the class. Like, I didn't really graduate. I had to drop out because I ran out of money, and then because it was during like the COVID thing, it was remote, and I was having software issues, and
Oh,
I only managed to get the software issue resolved like right as the class was nearing its end, and by then I couldn't really catch up to all the assignments I had missed.
okay. So you're 24. You've got a high school diploma. You know, the thing that kind of gets me is that people really shouldn't give a damn about degrees anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
that's
so
true.
utterly meaningless. They used to not be, but they are so utterly meaningless. I wish I knew a little bit more about the job market in terms of places you could look where a degree doesn't matter, or that they're not going to judge you on a degree, but rather competence.
Yeah.
And or the other option is, of course, if you can meet someone or know someone in one of those states, move out there and then find work is the other way to go.
Yep.
You don't sound too confident about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm technically in like the Free State Project Discord,
Okay.
and I mean, they offer to help people, but like, I don't know, I haven't gotten the time to really ask about it more because I've just been busy working and trying to like pay off the debt that I have. But, I mean, I'm nearly out, so I mean, that'll be a weight lifted off my shoulder. Like once I'm done paying everything,
Oh, is
it's a
this
good thing.
leftover from the trade school?
Yeah.
Okay. So Wolf says he has family in Texas. Neostar says, I wasted so much time chasing a degree. There was literally cheaper online courses that taught me the things I needed. Like, tell me what those were, Neostar. I lived in Guam for 5 years and was on a ring of fire for plenty of the earthquakes. Yeah, that's probably a lot of fun. Aside from shit falling off shelves, it really was. Yeah, it really wasn't, was it? Okay, going through these. So you live in Cali and you hate the earthquakes. Is it Northern California or Southern California? Okay, there's also Oklahoma, deep red, deep red, lots of fat, friendly, unoffensive white people, plenty of jobs for people willing to work with their hands. Oh, not bad. So Toxic Avenger wasn't accurate. Ironcast says, my advice, move to Tulsa, find any job that'll net you enough money for $600 a month for rent, take classes to become a machinist, then that 1 year cert, join my field. It's not a bad one. You know, also there's a welder shortage. If you're not,
Oh
if you're
yeah,
not afraid of that kind of work.
I heard about that. Someone from the Discord from the writers room Discord was telling me about that.
Yeah, there is a welder shortage, and it's simply because young people, one, either don't want to put in that kind of work, or they've been pushed so much away from the idea of getting a trade that they've got to get a bachelor's degree in liberal arts, that there just aren't enough people doing welding jobs anymore, which in itself is utterly ridiculous.
I'm kind of surprised like welders are still a thing. I thought it would have been like I told the person who told me I thought it would have been done away with automation, but he explained to me that it was the welding at the construction sites on-site welding rather than factory welding.
Yeah, they still need human beings to either crawl around a ship or crawl around a building or do things that machines don't do very well. Or the alternative is it's too expensive to make a machine that does it. Is the other one.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be brutal, but one of the reasons our farming equipment isn't more high tech is because Mexicans are cheaper. It really is that simple.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like a lot of the times, these companies that want to go automated, they don't comprehend that machines require maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance, and they're usually very specialized for one job. The human being can do tons of things and are very adaptable. So they don't really factor that in, that that expensive machine may do one job extremely well, but just change it a little bit and you have to reprogram it. You have to change it. Might need a new machine.
Yeah.
And it's easier just to get the person with the know-how to just go in there and take care of it. So I honestly, other than you being incredibly kind and maintaining our Discord, we know very, very little about you. So it's kind of strange just kind of running these through, figuring, well, okay, what are you good at? What do you know about? That kind of thing. But
yeah.
Well, there's always the possibility of finishing up that tech training.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna try and study it on my own and try to get certified that way. Because I don't want to go back to the school because I don't really feel like I mean I basically got the gist of what I need, but like what I needed to know, but for the most part it didn't feel like I was learning anything new.
So you already know is what you're saying.
Yeah, I know like the like how do I explain it? Like I know what I need to know essentially. Like, I just need to like review everything because I have the textbooks with me. I just need to like review it more. And because I know they updated the exams because they change it every 3 to 4 years. So I need to figure out how the exams were updated.
Well,
And
the real
I
shame
have
of that one about the exams, and that is really the easiest way around that. And this is kind of the real bitch of it all is to get around the need for a degree. Often it's as simple as knowing somebody who can hire you. And yeah, that's easier said than done. But when I was living in San Francisco in the 90s, during the web explosion, the web boom, there were a lot of people that dropped out of college because they knew somebody and they'd say, oh, you have the skills, we'll hire you anyway. And it's kind of, that's environment. It's like you just need to be around that kind of environment to find that. I think for myself, one of the reasons I'm really bitter about my parents being so overbearing regarding my schooling is really the opportunity I missed in college was by not taking the classes and taking the major I needed to. I wasn't exposed to other writers and opportunities, and often that's how you meet people and end up getting published, is through the contacts you make. Instead, I was screwing around in a journalism major that let me tell you, after taking a journalism major in San Francisco, I can understand why journalism is so screwed up. It was kind of teaching you how to lie.
So they weren't teaching you ethics?
Oh, hell no.
Because that's one of the things I always like hear the journalists spouting about how they're something about ethics. Like I don't know. Usually they critique each other on ethics, how their opposition isn't ethical or whatever. But in reality, they're the ones who aren't really ethical.
No, it was how to write news stories and seed your opinion in there without anyone noticing. and how to make certain things look bad or twist the truth or things like that. And it was very much, you make our side look good and you make their side look bad kind of thing. And you find this out and it's like, well, no wonder everything's so screwed up, because for a long
So
time,
it's like persuasion then, not really.
yeah, they were.
Wait, what was that guy's name? Thompson? I can't remember. I can't remember.
What, Hunter
It
S.
was
Thompson?
yeah. Wasn't he the one that started that trend?
No, I wouldn't say that. Are you familiar at all with Hunter S. Thompson's writing?
Not really. I just remember reading some stuff on him, but I don't really remember what exactly it was, and I don't think it was accurate.
The thing to know about Hunter S. Thompson is that his journalism was often fiction, and he would present it in this very, well, as he called it himself, gonzo sort of manner. So you would go through it and you're like, okay, so where is he bullshitting and where is he not bullshitting? And often he would make himself part of the story and just start going on about, oh, I'd done all these drugs before we went and did this, and this is why this happened. So now you're questioning his judgment. And he would rattle off these bizarre stories that were just like, he'd just go off on these weird tangents that went nowhere, only to find out years later he'd seeded in some actual truth in there that nobody would have believed anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of the journalists that are on Twitter see themselves as the next Thompson.
They're not. They're absolutely not.
I think it's a scenario kind of similar to how a lot of the comic artists see themselves as try to imitate Alan Moore. I think these journalists are trying to imitate Thompson.
Well, they don't have his talent, for one. Give me a second here. I'll see if I can't pull up something. Okay. Just hear this and you'll see what I mean by what we're getting today is nothing like this. Now, this article, or this started as an article and became a book, was supposed to be his coverage of a motorcycle rally in Las Vegas. Okay? Somewhere around Barstow on the edge of the desert is when the drugs began to take hold. I remember saying something like, I feel a bit lightheaded. Maybe I should drive. And suddenly there was this terrible roar all around us. And the sky looked like, was full of what looked like huge bats, all swooping and screeching and diving around the car, which was going around 100 miles an hour at top speed to Las Vegas. And a voice was screaming, holy Jesus, what are these goddamn animals? And then it was quiet again. My attorney had taken off his shirt and was pouring a beer on his chest to facilitate the tanning process. What the hell are you talking about? He muttered, staring up at the sun with eyes closed and covered in a wraparound Spanish sunglasses. Never mind, I said. It's your turn to drive. I hit the brakes and aimed the great red shark towards the shoulder of the highway. No mentioning the bats, I thought. The poor bastard will find out about them soon enough. No one's going to mistake this for fact. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more kind of wild fantasy based loosely on what really happened. And even his more factual based stuff, like he did a thing on the Hells Angels, which is more journalistic, is written in this sort of almost very stylized, punchy, sarcastic style with lots of weird little stories that have nothing to do with what's going on. But Orwell started gonzo journalism. Hunter gave it style. There's some truth to that. So I'm talking to Eloise.
Hi.
Hey, Kat.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. That's good to hear.
I'm doing better.
That's very good to hear.
I'm trying to convince myself.
Oh, one day at a time.
Yep.
I will end this very quickly. Here's all the narration you need. She's 24. Her parents don't get along. Mom wants to go back to Nicaragua, and she's trying to figure out how to get the hell out of Jersey.
Oh, geez.
That part of life.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah.
You were there.
I've
You were
been
definitely in there.
I've been there.
What would you say? See, I took a different route than you. I went to college, and then I went to San Francisco, and I struggled and where it was on my own for quite a long time, and then I went crazy.
Well, really, I need more information. Really, I just say do what you think you need to do in order to ensure your happiness, and know that you have friends.
That's pretty good advice.
Yep.
And
I just
I feel like that's kind of vague, but
yeah.
do what you need to do, and in these sorts of situations, you need to think about you.
I think the hardest thing that the very last millennials and the new Zoomers coming up are really dealing with, that the first all the way, most of the boomers didn't face this, but the Zoomers was just the massive instability that is around them right now. Because for us it was okay, when's the bomb going to drop? The economy was good for the most part. Society functioned. There was discord, and the news was constantly trying to scare the shit out of us. But our fear was constantly, well, it could end tomorrow. And we were being constantly told if it didn't end tomorrow, it would end next week. Where it's like, well,
as a generation,
yeah,
that wasn't entirely my experience.
What was yours?
Mine was any second we're going to lose the house, and it's going to be all my fault.
I don't think you've ever told me that part.
Yeah.
You've never told me that part.
Well, it was because anytime I brought up anything that would require money, whether it was my school needs, says that I need certain supplies, or Mom, I need food, she'd scream at me that we didn't have money and that we were going to go to the poorhouse.
But yet she had money for dates and...
No, that's what credit cards are for.
Oh, that's what credit cards are for.
So, no, it was the fact that if I was to so much as breathe too much air, if it's 35 degrees outside and I'm freezing, and I can't ask Mom to turn up the heater even just 1 degree, for fear that we're going to lose the house and it'll be my fault.
Jesus.
So
I'd ask you how you escaped, but
well,
you met me.
Yeah.
And once you had me in your life, things changed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, I think what a lot of the Zoomers are facing right now is, what's the economy going to look like next year? Will college degrees even matter anymore? Because they kind of don't, but yet they're still required.
Not necessarily. A lot of companies are not requiring them anymore.
Really? So the shit you were going through isn't real anymore?
After COVID, a lot of companies, including the one I currently work for, lowered the bar on the requirements to be employees, because it's not that there wasn't the pool, it was there wasn't the pool of people applying for jobs. Right.
Well, Eloise was learning to do tech support. Do you think she could apply to I don't want to say over the air.
Where are you again? New Jersey?
Yep.
Okay, Eloise, I am going to message you off air. My company, I think they're based out of Philadelphia, but they do work from home. So I will message you their Sorry, I just got off work and my brain has lost words. Basically, their job postings. I don't know if there's anything right now, but it is a constant, them looking for people. And if you have any questions about what a particular job actually entails, because you know how they always use the flowery verbiage on job postings, I can like tell you
Yep.
exactly what it entails. So
And you can play up race.
actually, you can.
They're a Seattle-based company, so they care.
Yeah, they do.
If only they knew how pale you were, Kat.
Yeah, and I wouldn't promote them, or I wouldn't, suggest people apply if I didn't think they were a good company. And believe me, I've had my share of shitty jobs, so I would not want to drag other people into hell if I can help it. So if you're interested, I'll send you their postings. So
It doesn't require like a beefy laptop or
They supply it.
they would
All right.
yeah, they would supply the laptop. The only thing that you need is a hardwire connection to the internet. You can't have Wi-Fi.
All right, that's good because I can only use like Ethernet stuff.
Perfect. Yeah, they want only Ethernet. So
Now, if she gets a job, would she be able to move?
yeah, you can take the job
Because it
over.
is. I remember for a while there was a weird thing about being attached to the state.
Well, okay, I will say they're figuring things out. And that's the other great thing about this company is that they are not afraid to try new things and then go, you know what? That didn't work. Let's do something else. That's the first company I've ever worked for who was fully willing to admit, you know what? That was a bad idea. Let's try something else. And the pandemic has made them rethink how they do work from home. So they're a lot more open to work from home, and especially if you're near one of the main hubs, and near it in air quotes, they are more willing to work with you. So so I would say, give it a shot. Worst that happens is it's not for you, or you find something else. So
Oh, by the way, Harville made a comment, and no, I actually thought it was funny. So
Kat met Ishi and got her to do things she'd never seen before, like turn up the thermostats.
I said that's not a joke.
That's not a joke. That really is not a joke.
You got the other thing. You got to learn that it's okay to open the window.
Yeah, it's okay to open the windows.
Curtains don't always have to be drawn. That the outside is okay.
Yeah, I don't need to keep the curtains drawn to prevent the bad guys from looking into the house. I can't actually open the windows to let in fresh air because the bad guys are not, just waiting in line to hop through the window and steal your shit.
Like ninjas.
Well,
you just got off work. I've been on there for an hour. Should we call it a night?
Oh, that's entirely up to you. I just thought I'd come in and join.
Well, it was just kind of, I hopped on, I was doing rambling, and Eloise had a UFO story for me.
Oh, very
Yep.
Family in Nicaragua saw a shaped object with weird lights making a kind of a weird vacuum sucking noise over the house. And was it an ant?
It was my great aunt. She panicked and ran indoors and did not come out the house for hours.
Oh no.
People had to bang on her door to get her to come outside because that's how terrified she was. She mentioned that she heard stories about people getting sucked in and disappearing and never coming back, so she didn't want to end up like that. So
there's some logic to that.
If I was to see a UFO in this country, I wouldn't care, and I have seen a UFO in this country at least once.
Mm-hmm.
I got to admit, after reading the stories and people who have actually said they've encountered UFOs in South America, yeah, I'd go in the house too.
Well, what about the guy in Brazil?
Yeah, but he got radiation poisoning.
Yeah,
and
true.
Quite a few of the people got radiation burns. So, no. And they were the same burns that weird Canuck got.
Oh, yeah.
Same pattern and everything. So it was like, okay, there is something to this.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we're going to call it a night, but it was good chatting with you, Alois.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I guess Kat will be emailing you.
Yes. Well, actually, through Instagram.
You'll do it through Instagram?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night, everyone. And
Good night.
I will talk to you guys tomorrow.